What is up, sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of Pez's Picks. I'm Jeff Hartman, joined with Pez himself, the man with the picks. What's up, Pez? How's it going?
Jeff, it's golf season around here in the South Jersey Shore, so things are going great. I got tee time this weekend. People in the South Jersey area will know this one's called Twisted Dune, a phenomenally hard course, but fun course, very wide fairways, slopes at 144, Jeff. So you're a golf guy. That that that's not
It's
going
a
to do
tough
a
course.
major.
Yeah.
Stretches out about 7,200 yards from the tip, so I'm going to be praying probably about 6,800. But great track. We're gonna have to put that on the list when you join the South Jersey Shore
For
tour you're
sure.
gonna be on coming. But the draw's working, Jeff. The new swing. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't even want to look at it. I'm standing more straight up, which I encourage golfers to do. I'm 6'1". I was hunched over like a 5'9" guy, so I'm getting a more more bang in the bat. I'm looking for a torpedo golf driver, Jeff. A conversation we're gonna have later.
They make those, by the way. We'll get into that later. But
I had a squatch, Jeff. I had a squatch. I still have it. I'll bring that out when you come.
well, you mean the Nike?
Yes, sir. I
Oh
think
my
it's
gosh, that
illegal.
thing looked like you were swinging a mailbox on a stick. Like it was insane how big that driver head was. Is that what you're talking about?
I have an original. It's the greatest golf sound in the history of golf. I'll bring that out for you. I love that thing. I can
That's
ping that thing. I think it's illegal, but so should the submarine bet, Jeff.
all
We're
right.
getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, let's start with March Madness. The NCAA basketball tournament, the men's side, is getting ready for their Final Four this weekend, and March Madness overall, we're 7-5. And we talked before we hit record on the podcast. This tournament has been a lot of chalk. What do you think, Bez?
Jeff, super proud of ourselves. We adjusted on the fly. I noticed after the first 2 days something has changed in college basketball. Hearing a lot of national guys talk about it. It appears money talks, right? So the SEC, the Big Ten, dominating, chalk dominating. Our rating system, we look at an upset as 4 seeds separated or more. There have been 4 in this entire tournament. Last Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every higher seed won. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. And of course, that doesn't affect the gambling line, but chalk is winning, I think, to a fault. If something doesn't happen, we are not going to have Cinderella stories anymore. It's just not going to happen. Kind of like what we're seeing, in NIL affecting college football in the similar way. I think basketball more extreme. My guess is Auburn, Florida, Duke, Alabama. Um, they're carrying 2 sets of national contending teams, right? I mean, something changed here dramatically. We're proud of ourselves for kind of staying ahead of the curve here. We adjusted the system a little bit, so we climbed up. We should be 9-3, Jeff. I'm starting to whine like a gambler here. Auburn, Michigan State. We're we're laying 3.5, Jeff. We're up a dramatic amount. I think we're up 6. And wouldn't you know, Michigan State chucks up a half court 3 to end the game, and we end up losing by half a point. Another game we lose by a point. This is the pain of basketball wagering, similar to NBA. And we're a database system, Jeff. And I have a degree in data collection and analysis. And one of the things that you look at when you're analyzing data is threats to validity. When we're talking about public opinion polling, or if you're looking at some sort of advertising kind of study, threats to the validity means your system's getting screwed somehow. Either you screwed it up, human error, or there's some threat to the validity from externally you can't control. In college basketball, the center should not be chucking a half-court shot with the buzzer, Jeff. This shouldn't be happening. Guys should be kicking it out of bounds and respecting the gambler. In football, we talk about that being turnovers. Interceptions are a threat to validity. So that's minimized. And, you're not going to have a team down by 12 who's getting 13. They're not going to kick a 50-yard field goal to end the game. They're just going to run the clock out. In basketball, Jeff, these yahoos, they come off the end of the bench. They're chucking threes from half court. So we're frustrated, but we're happy. We're at about 59%, and, that's not bad. And we got 2 picks coming, Jeff. We got to pick both games, right? You
Yeah,
have
for
to.
sure.
You have to.
You have to.
What kind of gambling talk show are we if we're not betting both games? You got to. It's the Final Four. I mean, every gambler's doing it.
Well, let's do it. What are you? Let's look at the Final Four and let's talk about the odds and what your plays are. Or do you have
So
official plays, or do you want us to? Are
we're
you
putting
teasing that?
we're throwing them out, Jeff.
Okay.
We've decided. We've watched a lot of this tournament. And you could make an argument for all four of these teams. All four number one seeds have progressed to the Final Four. Second time in the 39 tournament, 64 team, 39 tournament history we've had. I think 2008 was the last time. So could you be wrong with either of these? Probably not. We have some thoughts, Jeff, and this game has changed, and you have to change on the fly with it. NIL is one thing. The 3-point shot has dramatically changed college basketball and NBA basketball. Defending so we're going to let anybody, this is how we make the sausage at Pez's Picks, Jeff. Defending 3-point shots is a phenomenally underrated stat in gambling, in basketball gambling. It's something that the common person isn't going to follow. Thanks to Mr. Internet, whoever invented this thing, Jeff. I think it was Al Gore, but whoever it was, we look at this model a lot. We punched into our model a lot. Defending the 3-point shot, wouldn't you know? We've got Florida coming in at number 6. We've got Auburn coming in number 8. Both are defending the 3-point shot about under 30%. Houston, 30%. We got to jump about 12 more spots to get to Duke. So when we look at the game, Florida and Auburn, we have arguably the two best defensive 3-point shooting defense in the country. The other teams are crap schools that, are minor Division I programs. So when we look at that, we're going to punch this game into the system. Both teams are scoring high. When you get down to two teams being able to take away something that's big, and we expect Auburn and Florida to make it very difficult to make threes in this game against each other. Both athletic, both long teams, both great coaches, both prepared. So that tells us this game is not going to be decided by 3-pointers. It's going to be decided by another aspect of the game. And what we calculate at Pez's Picks is this is going to be a game decided down low, in the key, in the trenches. I expect Johnny Broome, star from Auburn, player of the year candidate guy, hurt his elbow in the last game. I expect him to dominate this game, Jeff. I don't think Florida has the athletic and physical ability to keep up with Auburn down low, in the trenches. I expect Auburn to cover this game. We're right now getting 2.5 points. I think this line comes from a lot of things. Florida did kind of smoke Auburn regular season. We had some injuries in Auburn. I think they're on a 14-game run. So I chalked that one up to a letdown game. When we punch the numbers, I don't see data that tells me that Florida's a better team, especially if we take away 3-point shooting, which I expect both to do. Both teams phenomenal defensively. I like Auburn, bigger, more athletic. I like the mojo they got going. We talked about them 2 weeks ago as being the best team in this tournament. I still believe that. Getting points, something we have to look at with college basketball, Jeff. This is it's a money-making system, right? So I don't think Auburn is getting points necessarily because Florida is much better. There's a balancing of plays here. It's kind of like the Super Bowl, right? So Vegas sports books, they want even money on both sides. I think there's more money coming in on Florida. I love Auburn. Getting 2.5, I think, is a gift, and that's why we're putting it out early. I expect that line to move. I can't believe it hasn't yet. I think they're waiting for the final injury report on Auburn's center. He's supposed to practice Thursday, and I think he's playing. Jeff, there announced no injury. He had some tenderness, so if there's no injury, that guy's going to be on the court. He's a beast, and I expect him to have a big game. Auburn plus 2.5, lock of the tournament, Jeff. We love it.
Okay. What is it? So you had Auburn plus 2.5. That's the line right now. You expect it to move, but that's what we have right now. So if you have that on your sports book of choice, you may want to jump on that. Let's go to the next game, the Duke Blue Devils. That's the other side of it. What do you think about this one?
So maybe I'm a little jaded, Jeff, but Duke to me is Penn State in football. Overrated, I believe, every year. Everybody loves Duke. We're going back to Christian Laettner, Grant Hill, Krzyzewski. That shadow, that ghost is still carrying them, I think. Great team. I'm not going to say they're not a good team. They have some good players. But when we look at the numbers here, Houston, shockingly, could win this tournament. And this isn't a school that, people talked about, not from the SEC, not from the Big Ten. They're a Big 12 team, came in with just 4 losses on the season. When we look at strength of schedule, shockingly, Houston has a tougher strength of schedule than Duke played. The ACC is a little down this year. When we look at top 25 records, it's a big number for college basketball. Houston comes in 8-3 against top 25 teams. Duke only 5-2. When we look at their RPI rating, so we really punch the data, the net rating right now is Houston at 3, has Duke at 1. I think Houston, more athletic, better defensively. They come in the number 1 ranked defense in the country. They're only giving up 58 points a game. Shockingly low number. Maybe you add in a 5 or 10 more points for Duke, because of their stars. I mean, Flagg's a great player. He's got a lot of guys around him. I think at the end of the day, Houston, way too dynamic, way too athletic, way too busy on defense. And I think Duke's going to struggle. I think they're going to figure out a way to shut Flag down. And I think that team struggles to score points. And then they only put up about 84 games. So it's not like they're shooting, 90 some points. I love Houston in this situation. We're taking both dogs. Houston +5. I think that's a gift too, Jeff. And I don't know. That line, you might want to wait a little bit. Duke will definitely have more money coming in on it, right? Everyone's going to bet Duke, especially being the late game. My suspicion is by Sunday that could creep to 6. We're hoping 6.5. I like it at 5. Houston +5 and Auburn +2.5. I think they're giving us points, and they shouldn't. We're jumping on both of those right now.
All right, so this is going to be an interesting Final Four weekend. When you talk about Florida, Auburn, Houston versus Duke, I can't tell you the last time all number 1 seeds made it this far, but still, it's going to be exciting. Is that the last time? Okay,
it's
very
only
good.
happened one other time, so I mean
that's incredible.
I think it's something that we're going to expect to see happening more and more. We had a lot of number 2s going into last weekend, 3 of the 4, and something's got to be done. I mean, Nick Saban said it. It's a Wild West, Jeff. I mean, this is the stuff that Tarkanian, Patino, Calipari were good at when it was illegal. Now everybody's doing it. They got general managers for college basketball teams now.
Yeah,
negotiating deals. It's dirty, Jeff, and coming from a gambler to call sports dirty, that's something. So we think it's a little too dirty. We hope they figure it out.
So your predictions based off of your picks would be an Auburn-Houston national championship, which will be on Monday. And I'll tell everyone to make sure you check Pez's picks on social media, on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm not sure if we'll do a quick podcast for Monday morning or something like that for the national championship. Do you think that Auburn-Houston would be the best game? Or do you think there's another matchup, not counting bets and spreads and odds and all that stuff? What do you think would be the best matchup to watch?
I think the 2 best teams in the country are Florida and Auburn. I think that's the national championship. Okay. I think both of those teams beat Houston and Duke. I think both of those, Florida and Auburn, can do everything. I mean, they are 2-dimensional teams. They're athletic, they're fast, upbeat, and they defend. They defend better than the Duke or Houston does. So Houston's numbers are great, but I think down low, Auburn and Florida is going to defend a little better than them, and especially being able to defend the 3. Long teams with guards that are tall, that's what a long team's going to be, are very difficult. I mean, that goes back to the Fab 5 with Michigan. You had Jalen Rose. You had these guys that, they're playing point guard at 6'6", 6'7", and, Auburn and Florida get a little of that in both situations. I love both of them. We're going with Auburn, Jeff. They're going to win the national championship. We're going to say that.
All right. Very good. So that sounds great. Let's talk about some Major League Baseball. We've been hovering around 500. Actually, let's do NBA first, because NBA is still going towards the postseason. I talked last week about how I don't find it very interesting, and you agreed with me, but still NBA plays. Go ahead and let us know where our standings are and what you have coming up.
1 below 500, Jeff. We're treading water. I believe we're 8-9 right now. Not pleased about that, but, we're not completely crushed. I've never seen an NBA season come to a more depressing finish, Jeff. Like last night, we had Phoenix, Milwaukee. We're having stars sitting out games. Lillard's been out. Giannis played, but it wasn't guaranteed he's going to play. Puts up 37. It's been a very difficult thing. You got Brunson out in New York. Philadelphia is putting out. I think that's a bad JV high school team right now. Knicks cover against Sixers on Tuesday night by 1 point. We put out 2 plays. We had Orlando, San Antonio. Orlando did what we thought. Denver loses in double overtime. So, it's been difficult. I'm hoping things start to narrow down a little bit as we get to the playoffs. The game gets called differently. I think it's better investing NBA playoffs than it is NBA regular season. Generally, this time of the year, we got a week left in the year. It's playoffs, but it doesn't seem like these guys don't care. They've got these play-in games now. It's almost been decided. So we'll continue to tread lightly. We're going to get that number up in the 60s, Jeff. We're going to guarantee that by championship. We got 2 months left, too. So,
yeah, I mean, we have plenty of time. So we'll get on the NBA once the NCAA tournament's over. But we wanted to talk about baseball. I jumped the gun a little bit. We wanted to talk about baseball. We haven't put out many baseball plays, if any at all, yet this season. It just started. And one of the reasons why I'm kind of glad you hesitated was the offensive output, we'll call it that, the Torpedo Bats, which are definitely making the rounds in terms of the media attention they're getting. It started with the New York Yankees hitting, I don't know how many home runs against the Milwaukee Brewers on opening day. I think Aaron Judge had 3 on his own. And everyone's just like, these bats are incredible. I've heard rumors, I don't know if it's official, that Major League Baseball is planning on banning these bats based on the fact that it's skewing the betting odds. Because when you go to bed with these sports books, the sports books can't be saying, listen, you can't allow these bats. Like, we're setting these lines. It's incredible. Pez, what do you think about Major League Baseball start and these torpedo bats?
Jeff, I was ranting about this with my lovely wife, who told me to suck it up, Jeff. And this guy, I got Sicilian wife and son. They have no sympathy, the Sicilians. They cut your throat in your sleep. So she told me, suck it up. Stop whining. The bats are cheating, Jeff. Can I go out there with a gigantic glove? Can a catcher have a glove the size of his body? What's going on here? How do I know who's using that stupid bat? And I know what it is. It's a softball bat. It's an aluminum shaped wooden bat that's been processed to narrow down the sweet spot, because we got computers and algorithms out the wazoo in Major League Baseball. So they narrow it down to a certain percentage of your contact point, and they're blowing that bat up. It's got to be cheating. It's like the giant wiffle ball bat, which I preferred playing with, Jeff. In the old days, the giant wiffle ball bat made it a more fun game, but they're playing with it in the pros. I believe they're using maple and birch and not old ash wood, which I think also adds to the balance of the bat. I'd be terrified if I was a pitcher. You're going up against balloon bats. We don't know who's using them. The Yankees, everybody's using them. I don't know why everybody in the league isn't. They're selling them, Jeff. I saw there's guys that are marketing them. This all started with an astrophysicist, I believe, from MIT. Miami hired him to be an assistant coach last year. Kind of slow rolled this bat into their lineup. They were so horrible, nobody cared. And I guess it caught in the minors and spring training, and lo and behold, guys are jacking the ball out. I don't like it. Threat to the validity we talked about earlier. Not knowing what kind of bat they're using and that potentially being cheating. Not that I bet on much swimming, Jeff, but I remember in the Olympics, they came out with these suits that these guys were wearing that made them faster, which I still don't understand how that happened, Jeff. I don't know where that tech is, and I'm kind of interested to know. And we talked about it with down ski jumping. Same thing.
Yes.
Adjusting the equipment, I think, is cheating. Unless everybody is going to use it, I think they got to outlaw this thing. Or I'm calling the Philadelphia Phillies. We're going to send the Phillies out. We'll send Bryce Harper out with a gigantic glove, Jeff. We'll put the catcher with a 3-foot wide glove. We'll never have a pass ball again. Something's got to be done here. Pez's Picks is ruling baseball's got to get on this. I think it's worse than steroids, Jeff. At least steroids, it's still human. We've got. I don't even know what the hell this bet is. It looks stupid too. I don't like it. I hate it. I'm very angry about it, Jeff, if you couldn't tell.
Well, I'm shocked that Major League Baseball hasn't had some type of restriction on what bats can and can't be in terms of the type of wood you're using, in terms of the barrel. I was in high school. I graduated high school in 2001, mind you. When I was in high school, you had all these restrictions on the aluminum bats that you could use, the barrel size, the drop in terms of how many ounces to the length of the bat, all these different regulations. You're telling me that Major League Baseball, like you're talking about the different types of wood. If you're allowed to do it, then do it, use it. But you're telling me they don't have any type of regulations on a bat? What is this? The natural with Wonder Boy, or the lightning strikes a tree and he turns it into a bat? Like, what are we talking about here? If they're going to make it legal, like you said, how every team in the major leagues are not buying these bats for their hitters, I don't know. I think it's fun. I actually miss the steroid era. That sounds horrible to say. I miss it. It was more entertaining watching Sammy Sosa, who used a cork bat as well, and Mark McGwire pounding balls, and Jose Canseco and all these guys. It was more fun to watch. Then you went to the dead ball era, and it was just, okay, it's just kind of boring. So I'm not against the bats. The league's got to come out and say it's either legal or it's not. And if it's legal, man, it's going to throw the gambling odds through a loop.
Absolutely. I mean, pitching has dominated. Skubal, Skeens. I mean, we wrote a lot of those guys last year. You had teams with the Mariners last year who won a ton of games and they couldn't hit a lick. They were hitting around 210. So if this bat becomes legal or they don't make a move on it, it will be the steroid era. Like you said, that was more fun, Jeff. I mean, Mark McGwire and Sosa, I don't even know when that was, 25 years ago, 30 years ago?
I think it was
phenomenal.
72
home runs or something?
Yeah.
So, now the difference with that, they were not testing for steroids. I mean, they claimed they were, but there was no testing. So they're not testing these bats. I think it's the same thing. The rich teams they're gonna benefit from the Yankees. They've got the money. Boston should be throwing money at this, and Houston cheats in every way they can. I can't believe they're not using it, Jeff. I mean, these guys had electric signalers on their nipples or something. It was a disgusting team they were winning World Series with. So, I don't know. I have a problem with baseball in general, Jeff. I find that they're a little bit of a hypocritical sport. They claim to be a clean sport. They've allowed cheating for 100 years now. We go back to shoeless Joe Jackson, the Chicago White Sox. I don't know. Dirty sport. They got to clean that up. We got to watch for a couple of weeks and see what happens with it.
Yeah, we do. But to me, baseball is going the way of golf. And this is going to be a great segue into some Masters talk. We're a little early, but we'll talk about the Masters. Golf is a sport where they use every advantage that they can. Guys have used lead tape on their clubs. It's not against the rules. You can go on the market today and you can search draw drivers. So if someone slices the ball, you can buy a driver that is actually, skewed towards that other swing path, depending on if you're right or left-handed, that's going to help you hit straighter shots or even draw the ball. They have little adjusters at the end of it. Like baseball is going in that way. You have people like my father who's 70 years old. He gets fit for clubs. They put the perfect shaft in the club that's going to help his swing. He's hitting the ball further. He's 70 years old and he's going to probably shoot his age this year. It's just amazing with the technology. So again, either baseball's got to say, hey, go. If you're not doing anything illegal, if you're moving the weight around in the bat, like that's not against the rules, then you got to let it go. And if they don't let it go, you got to curtail it somehow. But that's where I feel like it's trending, is in the way of golf, because golf is such a specialized sport.
And technology is not something we want to hear when we're trying to look for fair gambling. When a team has more tech, and this is why with golf, we've seen them adjust to this. They adjusted to change the ball. They took the squatch out, Jeff. The squatch is out. I mean, you can't use that club. The anchoring the putter into your chest out. So, and that was tech-based, pendulum kind of deal. So baseball's got to get on top of this. You don't want the sport to become kind of like a joke, kind of like a long drive contest. And I think this bat, unless it's determined is legal and everyone's using it, I think it does threaten the validity of that sport. I really do.
All right, well, let's finish up the show with a little golf talk. This week is the Valero Texas Open, which is kind of not a lot of big names playing this tournament. Ludwig Oberger's in the field. Our buddy Tommy Fleetwood, who's never won a tournament, he's in the field. It's just, a lot of guys are already at Augusta. Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, Scotty Scheffler, they're already down Magnolia Lane and they're working on their game there at Augusta National. What's your early? We don't have to talk about the Valero if you don't want to, but what's your takeaway on just early Masters thoughts?
Well, the tournament last week was super interesting. Siwoo Kim, I think, has no shot of ever winning a Masters. Right? That guy played phenomenal, but he hit a drive I would hit.
Oh, you talking about Minwoo Lee who won it?
Minwoo Lee, sorry.
There you go. Siwoo Kim is a golfer, though.
Siwoo Kim, great golfer. Minwoo Lee shanks a slice on the 16th in the water, like 50 yards. And he got up and down for bogey and wins. So that course last week was kind of designed to be a little bit warm up for the Masters. Shave greens and barely any rough, but you could blast it anywhere. You cannot blast the ball anywhere at Augusta, right? You have to be in a position to enter those greens and find those pins. What scared me, Scotty Scheffler, I don't think he was dead set on winning last week. We put a Sunday play in. We got him at plus 550 Sunday morning. My new law is anytime you get 550 or more on Scotty Scheffler, you take him at any time. He almost won, and I don't think he was trying to win. I think he was working on his game. Generally fades the ball. He was working the ball left, right. He hit a ball under a tree. I don't know if you saw it. I think it was a 3-wood, a sawed-off kind of 6-foot high 3-wood, 280. Almost.
That was a driver off the deck.
It was a driver.
That was a driver.
This guy putted unbelievably Sunday. Rory, I think, is going into Augusta better than he's ever looked. I don't think anyone is playing the caliber of golf those two guys are going into this tournament. Now, weather, start time can come into play a lot with this. I think someone's going to have to take Scheffler out in the par 3 if he plays it. Now, here's our early, Jeff, we have a big, algorithm with this. Anybody that plays in that par 3 and carries a baby is not winning the Masters, Jeff. You can't carry a baby the day before you play 4 rounds of golf. You've had 5, Jeff. I have had 1.
Yeah.
You carry a lug baby around. It hurts your back, your arms. I see that Scheffler out there running around with that baby. He's out, Jeff. And same thing with Rory. A sneaky guy I like right now. And a guy that you're going to have to hit a lot of fairways. You're going to have to hit a lot of greens. I love Michael Kim right now. Phenomenal. I think discount. Am I getting my Kim's confused? Tom Kim or Michael Kim?
There's two. There's both of them are golfers. I don't know which one you're talking about.
Forgetting which Kim right now, Jeff, but the lesser of the flamboyant, I believe it's Tom.
So Tom Kim is the more flamboyant one. Michael Kim is the one who's had a pretty good season so far. He actually contended a few weeks. I think it was the Cognizant Classic. He was actually in. You took him, didn't you?
We did.
Okay.
And we've taken Tom too.
Michael Kim.
Michael Kim. Okay, so Tom Kim, a little bit of a letdown. Michael Kim went to a draw.
Yep.
Pounding the ball. He's getting distance like Minwoo Lee was getting. Hits fairways and greens. I don't. Maybe as accurate as Morikawa or even Scheffler right now. If that guy's putter can roll, going to be a great long shot. It's going to be tough to bet against Scheffler. I think unless he's carrying that baby around, which I don't think he's going to do, Jeff. He's more Tiger Woods. I don't think he goes to that par 3. I think he's all biz. I think we see Rory there, though, Jeff.
Oh.
Rory's had a rough family year. I don't want to dig the laundry up on this guy. I think he's there and he's carrying the baby. That means he's out. You're going to see Spieth there. Thomas, you're going to see these guys there with those babies. I think Koepka could be a sneaky play too, Jeff. I think the villain returns. He plays this course great. I've got some set. Should we save the sad numbers on Rory for next week?
Save him for next week.
Okay.
But I do have a question. I do have a question about Rory for you. And with Rory McIlroy, did you hear his comments after his round on Sunday?
I did.
Why in the world would he even say that he has an elbow injury? I can't fathom this. I literally talked about it on my golf podcast. What does he? The only reason that I think he says my right elbow has been bothering me is because he's expecting to choke. And when he chokes at Augusta again, he's going to have a fallback. He's going to say, oh, well, that elbow's been bothering me. And it was really just it was really a pain physically, mentally. And I can't understand why he would say that publicly. It makes no sense.
But we've talked about it a lot the last few years, Jeff, with Pez's picks. We don't like betting negative, as the young kids say these days, aura people, right? Scheffler, he might get pissed off. Tiger get pissed off. Rory McIlroy hangs his shoulders. He exhales. Any missed shot, any missed spot, a 30-footer, he's and stomping away. He's got complaints. Minwoo Lee does not win that tournament if he doesn't have Shane Lowry's leprechaun from Ireland, veteran, badass caddy, right? That guy,
you're right.
He told him, get your shit together, basically. You hit one in the water, you're still up 3, and kind of daddied him around that course. I think, and Rory could tell me he's got a lot more money than me. He wins tournaments. I think in the majors, him having his good buddy, his best friend, I guess, growing up, I don't think that's a help. I think a traditional old caddy says, dude, you're the best golfer in the world. Stop slouching around. Be a man. No one's going to make every putt. Stop being negative and get on top of your game. And I don't think he wins another major until he gets over that. I really don't. I think, like Tiger Woods this week, Jeff, I'm more worried about him than I was last week. What the hell's going on with this April's Fool joke? What? I think Rory's going that direction. Fame is a difficult thing to deal with, and I think Rory and Tiger are showing that. And Rory should win every week, right? And I hope the best for him, though. I do.
No, not me. I can't stand the guy. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about the Masters. We'll do a whole Masters special next week with March Madness being behind us. Be on the lookout. Maybe we'll do a special show on Monday morning. We'll have to see if it works out. If not, make sure you check out Pez on Pez's Picks anywhere we get your platform. So you're talking about Instagram, Twitter, at Pez's Picks. But Pez, any final thoughts?
Jeff, I got a great tip from the 6-string punter from JMU. The best golfer I play with. This guy's a scratch golfer. Stand a little closer to the ball and stand up straighter. Kind of come through the ball a little more of that draw swing. I was reaching for it like a moron, and like we saw Minwoo blocking it. I said, "There's my swing." Now he hit it about 100 yards further than me, but get a little closer to the ball. Believe in yourself a little more, and that's working, Jeff. Believe in it. I'm trying to get Rory to do that too.
There you go. I love it. Pez, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the games. We'll talk. Take it easy.
All right, later.